I don't know who all is going to be on here on a Thursday at this early, but holy crap, this is bad, guys. Holy crap, this is bad. Wow, holy crap, 6 of y'all. Uh-oh. Two things that are bad. Business has been horrible this month. Literally, the worst month. This is worse than Blade Show month, but this knife, guys, is possibly been done the worst. And it's the previous owner. So I got this from a guy named, can't even think of his name now. So this came in and he got it for next to nothing. It is a SOCOM Elite that had been badly sharpened, horribly sharpened. Check this out. You can see still, that's where the previous owner sharpened it to and completely screwed up the bevels on this knife. And I'm in the process of put. But with that, he also had just scratched the bevels all to hell. And so what I did was I did a red ceramic and then tumbled the crap out of it. So it's hard to see in this light, but it looks really good. But the problem is I'm spending a lot of time. Now, this is an old 2006 SOCOM Elite that was done in D2. Guys, the previous owner wrecked this knife. I mean, I'm gonna be able to fix it, but I told the guy, I was like, he wanted me to, he's like, hey, can you polish this and can you clean this up and can you straighten out the bevels? And I was like, I don't think I can straighten that bevel out very well, but I might have to take a lot of material off. I said, as far as the cleanup, you'd be better off just let me coat the blade. We thought about doing it black, but he decided he wanted to match with the black scales and then the red. I'll see if I can get a better shot of it here in a minute. But he recurved the front part of the Tanto, the guy that owned it before. So this guy got it for, Adam got it for 30 bucks, I think he said. But I mean, it's just downright horrible. I am going to spend a lot of time reprofiling this. Time and his money. I mean, I'm gonna be able to fix it. It's worth saving. It's a decent knife. It's like an old house with good bones. But I mean, I'm just now getting it to where it has a tip on that side, and it's at least got an even edge grind. It's horrible, guys. It was recurved. This part was recurved, and you can tell it was, and he was using a fixtured system because that's what happens when you focus in the middle, and he was focusing more on one side than the other. You can definitely tell. Didn't get his angles right. I think we're just about there. Now I have to fix this lower part. So business has been horrible. I have to go to Phoenix this weekend. I just got I have a bunch of knives coming, but I was supposed to order belts. I don't have the money to order belts right yet. Just nothing seems to be working out. I spent the entire afternoon reinstalling security, or installing the upgrade for my security system, because there's cameras now. I have cameras in the security system, and I had intended on shooting a video yesterday. And I'm going to do it this morning, but so now the house is covered by video cameras. Motions, I have every opening for the house now has an open-close sensor and glass break sensor. You can tell if there's a heavy rattle. Cameras throughout the house, 3 cameras throughout the house, motion sensors. Business is, here's the thing. Business, I get bummed out because business will drop off for a week or so, and then it'll pick back up. And then it'll, you know, it ebbs and flows. But the thing is, I panic. you know, and I'm like, business sucks right now. So it always seems like this in the summer where I'll have 2 weeks of the month where I don't get anything, and then I'll have a week where a bunch of stuff comes in. This is basically the last knife I have. I have two that showed up for refinishing and sharpening, but you know, Yakov was supposed to send me a. Do I live in a bad area? It's not the greatest. Nico, since you're on here, get with me later so I don't forget. I set up a guest account for you and Bridget with a guest code for the days that you're going to be down. So get with me before I forget what I set it up as. And I'll give it to you, and I'll get you guys a spare key so you can get in and out while you guys are down here in case I'm not around, if I'm at the shop and you guys need to go back to the house. So there's a guest code and stuff set up for you guys. Yeah, I know you do. And I'm looking real seriously. I'm looking real seriously at relocating. And I feel bad. Chris, a guy named Chris, ordered one of my Scorpion knives, and I didn't realize the time frame. He kept asking me when it was going to be, and with the knives, you guys know, they happen when they happen. I wanted to do one a month. It just isn't happening because this got busy and then other stuff got busy. And so I'm way behind on that. And then Elliot, you know, Elliot was making knives. I couldn't use the shop. And so he needed it. I didn't realize he wanted it for his son's birthday. So basically he paid me for that knife, which is, it's non-refundable. I'm still going to make the knife for him. And so that's the whole thing with, I mean, you get behind and things like that. And the knife making takes a back seat to things like this, you know? And now I'm going to Phoenix on Friday. Because I had a friend pass away, and I'm trying to get together with some friends because I couldn't make it to the funeral. So I'm trying to get together with some friends that are out there since we all knew him, a guy that I've known since I was in my late teens, early 20s. I joined the Navy when I was 17, so I went to Japan. I was only 18 or 19 when I went to Japan, so knew this guy basically since I was a teenager, and he recently passed away, and it was kind of a blow, and I couldn't go to the funeral, and I'm gonna go out and see some of these other guys. So what was this? You live in a small town, bro. 25,000 people. That's a major metropolis. I used to have to drive 13. No, it's 20 miles to a town of 10,000 people. From a town of 130 now, I think, last census. But, you know, here's the whole thing about this channel. I share the good and the bad with you guys. I don't hold anything back. Oh, and I drove Lyft a couple nights ago. I was gonna drive Lyft last night. Now I have to wait until next week to do vehicle inspection because my vehicle inspection, Lyft makes you do a vehicle inspection with them. They have an inspector, you have to show up. It's free, but I can't get my vehicle inspected until next week. So I can't even drive Lyft. I can't even drive like Uber, Lyft until next week when I come back because I have to schedule a vehicle inspection with them. So, I mean, it's just... Normally, none of this stuff would even bother me. But my family's gone. And it really, really, all that combined, really starts to bother me. And I vent to you guys because I don't have anybody else. I will tell you guys, if you own a D2 knife, I just had a guy talk to me about a Medford in D2 that's tumbled, and he goes, apparently where he lives, it's might be kind of humid. He said that thing, he's like, look, are you willing to coat it? I was like, yeah, I can coat it. And he said apparently his D2 Medford just rust sitting in a drawer. That's where these coatings are awesome. Completely seals the blade. I've seen, now I will tell you, I have seen blades rust through DLC. If it has a little mar, it will rust through or rust under DLC. Not often. Yeah, Chris is going to Coshocton. He knows what I'm talking about. Small town. That's the town that we used to have to drive to. Line these edges up. Line these angles up. Not great. Who was that said hey? Sorry, I was not ignoring. I'm just reprofiling. It's horrible. And I mean, it's not going to be perfect. I'm going to get in closer to, it's going to definitely look better than it did, but it's still not going to be perfect. Would love every knife. I am a perfectionist. You can ask Nico. I am a fucking hardcore perfectionist. Jason Stone. K through 12. Actually, the K through 12 building that I went to, or I went to K through 6, and then I went to 7 and 8 at the junior high, and then the high school was 9, 10, 11, 12. Where I went to elementary school was where my grandmother went to high school. She went K through 12 at Fresno, and then it got turned to Fresno Elementary, and then it got converted to, now there is no school there. Everybody gets bused all the way to, so there was 3, used to be, okay, this is killing me. There used to be 3 elementary schools. There was Fresno, Plainfield, West Lafayette, and they were all their own individual K through 12. And then they got together and they made one school district because they were like, we got all these teachers that we're spending all this money on, and there's not enough kids because there were these small rural schools. So what they did is they made one school district. So they had K through 6 at Plainfield, K through 6 at Fresno, and then they had K through 6 in West Lafayette. But then everybody from all 3 of those schools went to 7 and 8, which was junior high, and then the entire high school where everybody came together there. So junior high and high school were in West Lafayette. Well, then they realized still that they're like, this doesn't make any sense. We're paying for teachers at 3 elementary schools, still only have these small amount of students. So instead of running all these kids and running buses for 3 elementary schools, what they did was the kids still get picked up by buses, and instead of having buses to the elementary school and then buses to the junior high and high school, they just run the buses straight to one big school that they built, which is K through 8, and then everybody goes to the new high school. So the high school that I went to is now the K through 8. No, it's not. That's new, the junior high, and they built a K through 6 on the site of what was the old elementary, what was the old junior high. That's the new kindergarten through. So basically, they made one school for the entire school district. But even 3, I'm not joking, 3 elementary schools put together to make one junior high and high school, when you all sit down, we were supposed to sit down to make the 91, which is the year I graduated, the 9-1. There were barely enough kids to do. I think we had 68 kids graduate my senior year. That's 3 elementary schools. So I don't hear y'all talk shit about growing up. And I mean, some of y'all did. I guarantee you grew up in the country. Ooh, doggy. Lot of reprofiling. Here's the thing. Okay, let me tell you why I hate reprofiling a Tonto. Because you have to do it in steps. So, you guys know that you have this edge, and you can see this line comes up. That's a different angle. Well, as you reprofile this, what happens is you move that point back. You can see that there's a point where those two angles marry. So you, knowing that you still have to reprofile on this, what you'll do is you'll take material here so that point where they marry works its way back. So then as you reprofile here, you work it back the direction you want. So the point is that you have to do it in steps. You can't just reprofile the whole tip, because then you wind up, you kind of have to, well, it's not good yet. It's still, this side is always going to have a low spot here because of what that guy did to it. But I have to, now I have to, as I'm reprofiling this, I have to walk that material. Let me see, can you see? You'll probably be able to see it better if I, we'll do this again, where I drop you down. Not that. So as you can see, I've reprofiled that tip the way I want it, but that angle, that marriage point, is not where I want it. So now I can reprofile this, and I can work that point back where I want it, and then marry those 2 points together closer to where it's supposed to be. Is it ever going to be perfect? Good, as close as I can, but it's pretty far off. But I still have a lot of reprofiling to do on this part of the edge. So that means that gives me some leeway to walk that point forward, because as I'm removing material, I'm going to walk that, I'm going to walk that forward. Did you guys see that weird glitchiness? So I'm still, I'm still on my coarse diamond plate. So, I mean, it's gonna be, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to do it as common sense as I can to not, I don't, you know, I mean, I don't want to, as much as I want to make money, I also don't want to break, I don't want to make all of my money on one customer and then not have a repeat customer. It's better to be honest with the customer and do it the right way and give them options. And because there's going to be spots on this where I'm like, hey, do you want me to just leave it? You know, it's better to do business that way. It really is. Adam, you need to tell whoever owned this before that they need to never sharpen a knife again, ever. Whoever it is that you bought this from. A little bit of soap and water. A little bit of soapy water breaks that, helps these things cut better. Where are we at? And it's a matter of checking. Always watch what you're doing. So now I got one side further. This one side's cut down. I've kind of made a name for myself for being pretty good at doing the Americanized Tonto. And being able to marry those points together evenly, consistently. Now, there's times where I'll tell a customer, I was like, I can save you a little bit of money and just treat it like a Japanese tanto and round that over. But on this knife, you can't really do it because of the way it's ground. And I'm almost there. Almost there. I've almost lined both sides of this up. Because right now I'm reprofiling, I'm not so much concerned about keeping, I'm keeping my edge angle consistent, but it's off just a little bit. I'm gonna touch that up when I get on my, this is, I'm just reprofiling. I'm not actually refining, or I'm not considering this sharpening. I'm considering this strictly, basically regrinding this knife. Without the use of a grinder. So we are at a point where I think almost ready to switch to stones as opposed to big heavy diamond plate. Are you guys seriously, honestly interested in this? Because I'm going to tell you, this would not be what I watch on YouTube. Not that I want you guys to quit. Watching, I mean. Okay, now we're ready to start working both sides back and forth. Close? Are we even? Huh, funny. So am I. Adam, so am I. Okay, we are almost even, so we will switch from here to this. Now, so Adam, the heel on this is always going to be bad because he took so much material out of the middle. I just can't, there's so much I can't do that I would love to be able to do for you, but I promise you it's going to be retarded sharp. Yep, it's definitely D2. I miss anything? As long as it cuts, oh, it's gonna cut. And it's straight now. There's no belly. It's just, here, I'll show you what I mean. I'll show you what I mean. Since I've got a customer on here, see how your bevel widens? So much material out here that there's just no way to do it. It's gonna be the same. Like that edge, the angles are now consistent, but they look kind of hinky. And there's just, he just bellied out so much material that there's just, he almost hollow ground certain areas on this. It's been a while since I had one come in this bad. I appreciate the challenge. But it does look good with that red and then tumble. So now, marry these up evenly. It's looking pretty promising. So I have any Microtechs in my collection yet. Any suggestions for my ghost? You know what? I'm about to do a video about a Microtech, and I'm not. If it's a Microtech custom, and I'm not impressed. The last few Microtechs that I've had come in, not impressed. They seem to be getting. The problem, I've never had a Microtech that I was happy with the D10, except for Matt's custom that he got at the Tactical, Las Vegas Tactical show that time that I had, the Annex, which is the Integral. That was the last one that I've gotten that I was happy and liked the D10 on. All of the others, you can drop them. This one is not like that because it's a different style knife, and it's gonna be coarse. It's gonna have to basically have to re-break it in, Adam, because I blasted and ceramic coated and tumbled. It's had a lot of work done to it, so. Oh, that's right. I gotta get a hold of Bob. Who was that? Was that Bob? Bob Snyder. I gotta get a hold of other Bob. Got a different Bob I gotta get a hold of. I completely spaced. I was supposed to call him earlier in the week. Damn it. I looked over everything that we talked about. I have his estimate prepared. I just never called him. The 940, the Benchmade 940 is my favorite. If I was to buy a Benchmade, it would be a 940. What's that? Let's see. Give this one a run real quick. That should. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Just needed a slightly coarser stone than that one. These Vinev diamond stones work really good on D2, Like I said, not so much on some of the softer steels, but really good on D2, 20 CB. Would not use them on. Wait a second, what was that? Somebody's talking about... Oh, yeah. You are absolutely right. I refuse. It's not that I don't think I can do it. I think I had a... I just... There's a guy that will do it. Big Brown Bear, he'll do it. And he apparently does a really good job of it. But he's like, oh, it takes this... I don't have that kind of time. I took on a straight razor I shouldn't have, and I wound up spending 2.5 hours just getting the edge profile ready on a straight razor, and contacted the individual, and they haven't even called me back. So I think they're afraid of what it's going to cost. So now I got a straight razor sitting in there. I'm probably not going to get paid for it. I wasted like 3 hours in total on a razor. I'm probably not going to get paid for it. It happens. It happens sometimes. Poop occurs. But I started it, and I didn't realize that it was bad until I started it. And there's a video, I'm going to do a video about that, about bad, cheap razors, cheap straight razors. Basically, you see a $16 razor, the steel. I won't do the steel. It's so finicky about how you have to sharpen it that I just refuse to do it. It takes too much of my time. Here's the nice thing about D2. These stones, these aluminum oxide stones, the Edge Pro ones, it cuts really well on these. D2's just a good all-around steel. Get a hold of a guy named, go to Armitage Carry. Contact him. He does amazing work. He's the guy that does all of my sheaths for the knives I make. If you can't find him online, you can find him on Instagram. Now, don't just trust me. You want to go to TI, a good Dovo. There's a couple other ones that are out there. There's a couple other companies that make really good solid hollow ground razors. I can look some stuff up for you, Charles. Don't get most of the crap you get on Amazon. It's just gonna be garbage. Yeah, I gotta send some stuff off to him. Next time I send some stuff off to him, I don't have anything to send right now, Nico, but I think it's just easier to do it this way. I haven't sent it yet. It's still here at the house because I don't have anything to send. I haven't made any knives for a while. I was thinking about selling that first knife I ever made. That, like, hey, my first fucking Star Trek fucking weapon. My first Batlaf. Klingon Batlaf. Yeah, the big long one with the big belly at the front. That might get sold. I have no use for it. Yeah, my Klingon craziness. See if anybody wants it. I'm not that attached to it. It was just, I wanted to see if I could make a knife. But then again, it is the first knife I ever made. All right, so we're at 400. So now we've established the angle, and it's, like I said, it's going to be off from where it initially was, but it's even on both sides. It's still pretty much in line with the thickening spot of the blade, which is what you want. And it is so much better than it was before. So much. And it's sharp, which it wasn't. I think you're right. It's probably going to stay. But I know I need money, so that's the way things work when you... It's never even been sharpened. Matthew, I am working on a SOCOM Delta the 2006. This was the Delta Elite Tonto that very, very, very badly screwed up by its previous owner. Its current owner asked me if I could fix it. I blasted it, ceramic coated it, tumbled it to give it a worn finish, and now I'm doing the sharpening. So. So, like I've said before, we're at the... I don't know. I don't like Tontos that much, Jack. To tell you the truth. I never have. I went through a phase where I had a couple of them. I still have. Do I have two? I think I only have one. I think I have one. Oh, no, I have two. My one out the front is a Tonto, and the only reason I kept it is because my daughter likes it. It's my Microtech Ultratech Tonto, and that's basically because it's her knife. She's just not old enough to have it yet. Mainly because she's not strong enough to fucking work the action on it. So you guys keep your eyes open. There's going to be a video today. I have two knives. Might do two videos because, like I said, I can't do any lift, and I don't think I'm going to try and get into as much as I need to do it. I have other things I need to do to prep for my trip because I'm leaving tomorrow. So all the stuff I normally would do on the weekend, housework stuff, I got to do today, and I've got to do shipping today. So. Those knives that got sent to me for refinishing, I'm not gonna do, but I am gonna do those two videos. I have a full custom, and I have a Marfione custom, and I don't really consider those customs because what they are is they're just a knife that he makes, and he does some embellishment on it. So really don't consider those customs, and I'm not impressed with it, to tell you the truth. So I am gonna do a couple videos today. They're the same thing, Jack. It's the same steel, 204P, M390, 20CV, same thing. And at this point, I've sharpened enough of Elliot's knives that it's not that big a deal. So I've sharpened almost all of the cons, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm glad there's only 3 left for him to finish, because I'm sick of sharpening those things. I've never reached a point where I said I didn't want to sharpen another one of those. Like, I've never said, oh, I don't want to, fuck, I'm done, I'm sick of these. I've had a guy send me a handful of a specific type of knife. Never have I been like, oh, fuck, I don't want to sharpen another one of those. I honestly am tired of sharpening those cons. They're not easy. They've got such a sweep to them. Persians are always a kind of pain to sharpen because they've got such a sweep, but I just tired of doing them. There's no, it gets monotonous. There's no variety in what I'm doing. I'm doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over. I accidentally left a Chaucera stone in the water all night. That's not good. So I have to take the top layer off of it because the resin has come unbound. So we are at a point where, you guys have probably heard me say it a bunch of times, I consider going from 600 grit to 1000 grit about the time that you stop sharpening and begin refining and honing. Nathan Dahl, I've been trying to figure out which rod stones I should buy for sharpening a damn recurve. I'll show you. You go to internet and you find yourself the Edge Pro 1-inch stones, or half-inch stones. Are these? I'll tell you, I got a goddamn ruler right here. These are half-inch stones, and you teach yourself on some cheap, get some cheap recurve knives, and you teach yourself the method at which buy some Kevlar gloves. Don't teach yourself the way I taught myself. Buy some Kevlar gloves and learn to do it with gloves so that you can then do it with Kevlar gloves so you don't cut yourself every time you do a recurve. Use these, or get an Edge Pro and use the Edge Pro to do recurves. You can do it that way, but these are how I do recurves, but I do them the same way I do other knives. These allow you to get up into that curved belly without knocking the edges off of your larger stones. Don't keep any secrets from you guys. Nothing I do is a secret. I've been doing it longer, so most of you guys, it would take a very long time to start doing it, so it still makes more sense for you to send stuff to me. So like I said, 1000 grit, that's where I feel you're not really so much sharpening. Sharpening is, I mean, it's all steps of sharpening, but you're no longer taking off enough material that you're doing more honing at the 1000 grit stage than you are anything else. And you're just refining all the work you've already done. So and my 12,000 grit stone, I'm gonna have to soak. So this is only gonna go to 10. Then I'm gonna have to do the 12,000 grit step a little bit later. See, 12,000 grit stone is in the house. Like I said, at 1000 grit, you're not removing any significant amount of material. Are you still forming a burr? Yeah, you're still forming a burr. But you're not removing very much material at all. You're just refining the stuff you've already done. And it's at the 1000 grit stage, you're going to see if there's anything you've missed, because there's going to be spots where any scratch pattern that you have not already removed is going to become visible. There's times where there's spots of scratch pattern from your lower grit stones that are still masked by the 6, the 8, you know, whatever grit you've got going. You get to 1000 grit, if you missed this spot, or maybe it was a little bit lower still, that's when you're going to really notice, is on the 1000 grit and higher. So there's a lot of times you get the 1000 grit and then you got to go back down to about 400 grit and work your way back up. But this one, it appears as though I got everything. You'll hear guys like, "Oh, I wound up spending so much time on the 1,000 grit." I was like, "That's because you didn't spend enough time on the 600 or the 400." And I spent a lot less time on 1,000 grit than I spend on the 600 or 800 grit. The 400 grit, I spend a lot of time on the coarser grits than I do on the finer grits. As you go up each stone, it should take you a little bit less time on each stone. By the time you get to the higher grit, it's almost like stropping. You shouldn't really be spending much time at all. Anything that still needs... I think there's a little low spot in my stone. I think I need to reflatten this one. Let's look and see. So I'll show you what we're looking for. Give me a second here. So here, I'll even turn the camera around and show you. Make sure I did not miss that. Is that a spot? No, just schmutz. So turn you back down, drop you around. So I'm looking do I have an even finish, an even scratch pattern the entire length of my bevel? And if I don't, then I need to go back up in grit, or go back down in grit, I should say. So if you're sure that you've spent a good bit of time on that, but you're seeing spots like in the middle where you've got a coarser scratch pattern in one area, well, then that means that that area is a little bit lower, low enough that not low enough that you couldn't touch it with the other stone, but low enough that this next stone, since it's a finer grit, is not getting down in there. So then that means that you can't go up to the next grit. You need to go back down, not one, I usually go down two. So if I'm at the 1,000 grit and I'm just starting to notice that there's little areas of scratch pattern that are coarser, I won't go back down to 600. I'll go back down to 400, look at it, see if I've got an even consistent area. Then to 6, even consistent. 1,000, usually that takes care of it. The nice thing about this 5,000 grit Chauthera I've got here is that it cuts well enough, especially on something like D2. You can see it's cutting really well. It cuts well enough that I can skip from 1,000 to 5,000. And I'm not gonna lie, the 1,000 grit Edge Pro is a little finer than your average 1,000 grit Kingstone or something like that. So, and then you can go from 5,000 to 8,000. And then 8,000 to 10,000, which is what we're gonna do today. But you gotta keep them wet. It's dry out here again today. The humidity has kind of went and my stones are wanting to dry up on me. So at this point, we're not taking off much material at all. What you're seeing, that even though it's really dark and there's a lot of dark schmutz come up, you're not taking off much material at all. You're just refining that scratch pattern. It's just really visible because this stone is really fine. Grizzly Ridge, is that the one that's the Crooked River, like the smaller version of the Crooked River? Or is that the one you had, Nico? It's not the small one? I don't know which one the Grizzly Ridge is, though. Then. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Benchmade, so I really don't follow it. Sometimes I get in, I sharpen them, but a lot of times I don't pay attention to what one they are. Nico, is that weird one you had with the gut hook? I don't know if you answered. I'm not paying attention. It's a recurve? Gross. That's the one you had with the gut hook that came all screwed up, right? Had that sharp spot. We did the video about it. That's the one we did the video about Benchmade's, that's right. That's the one we did the video about Benchmade's Life Sharp service where they didn't do anything to your knife. Let's see, how does this look? Oh yeah, that looks... way better. Way better than it did. So, next step is 8,000 and then 10,000. And then we will have to finish later. The Ridge had a small one with the lanyard hole. I don't remember. I don't know. I thought you had one that I thought that's that one that we did on the... So remember me saying that you spend less and less time on each stone because I'm almost done on this 8,000. So as you progress up in grit, the time you spend on each stone is less because you've just got less work to do. Because the amount of material you have to remove, it's less. You're not trying to do a bunch of heavy lifting on your fine stones. Matter of fact, I just switched to my 10,000 because we are at that point where we're ready to just begin the final polish. Well, I still have to do 12,000, and like I said, I haven't even filled a bucket with water. At 12,000 grit stones large, it takes it a good 20 or 30 minutes. It is a ceramic stone, but it's a very porous ceramic stone, the one that I have. So it takes it a little bit to completely wet the way I want it. So it's not a true splash and go like some of the others, but you can see the 10,000 is cutting fairly well. This is not my blue 10,000 grit. This one is a much, it's not as aggressive a 10,000. It gives you the same finish, but it does not cut the same way. It just depends. I have the 12,000 grit I have is a Shapton that I got in Japan when they were still really expensive. I think they had just were coming out with them, really, if you want to know the truth. They're way cheaper now. 12,000 grit is that's all the higher I take straight razors, or take knives. And I was thinking about getting a 30,000 grit stone, but I just don't have the money for it right now because they're like $300 right now for a 30,000 grit stone. Prices on those stones have went down significantly, and I'm not 100% sure why the prices have dropped so much, but I do know that some of those stones have went down by a couple $100. I have a package coming. A guy is sending me some stones that I'm going to use. I think they're larger stones, but they were free. So, why is that, Ben? I wanted it for straight razors. I just want it for straight razors. $30,000 would be great for straight razors. But I haven't sharpened enough straight razors right now to justify that expense. I like the way the Shaptons cut, though. That's my problem. All right, guys. Let's wipe this puppy down. Consistent? Is it a consistent? There's a couple spots that still need a little bit more polish. What was that? Somebody said diamond? What? I got diamond emulsion on my strops. But if you start with a super fine grit stone, it winds up coming out a lot better. I go down to half micron. I'm not going down past half micron. I see it as silly. You can't tell really with the naked eye anything past that. For knives, I would never take a knife down to 30,000 grit. Now let's strop this and see what we get here. Ooh. The only reason I'm stropping it, even though I know I have another stone to go up, is I just want to show you guys the consistent edge and polish. God, Tontos are hard on these fucking strops. They dig in. It's like stropping a chisel. Ah. So I'm only going to strop it, for you guys, I'm only going to strop it on the 1 micron. But you get the idea. And there's that point. What's up, Ken? How you been, bud? There's your secondary angle. No, it's not gonna take that long. I just gotta fill the bucket with water and let it sit. It'll take me literally 5 minutes after it sits. And when I go in the house to send Bob his invoice for the knives he wants me to do so he can pay me up front, it's it'll be done. So I'll just come out, I'll throw it on a stone. Like I said, once you get up this high in the grit, you're not taking off any significant amount of material. And then I'll send you how much you owe me. So you're looking, reprofiling, about an hour I've spent. So you paid me for Tonto to 8,000. I'll send you an invoice. I'll get it figured up. It needs cleaned up. You can hear it. It's got a bunch of grit in it. It needs cleaned up anyway. I've got to wash it out. I guarantee it's got stuff down in the bushing. But let's do a sharpness test. So you can see, since you're on here, Adam, your knife is here's the test that I always do. And let's see if I can dry my hands off. We'll get a clean spot on my hand. Oh, I missed it. They went everywhere except in my hand. The wind's blowing, so let me... So that's just hanging. And so I've got a couple. Those were not... No pressure, like I wasn't pushing against skin. That was just touching the hair itself, which is... There they are. So that's why my beard always looks funny. Like it's longer on one side than the other, because I always test on free hanging. Yeah, they're everywhere. They're flying all over the place. I do a free hanging hair test on my beard. Just touch it and pop, touch it and pop. So I'll let you know how much you owe me. I'm gonna get this cleaned up. No, it didn't. It barely cut. Like if you put it on something and push real fucking hard, it doesn't look like it has bite. Oh yeah, it bites. It just pops right through. And that angle here's the thing too. This is where I pride myself. Let's turn this around this way. Maybe we get some better light if we do it this way. And down that here. This is what I pride myself on. So if you look at an angle there, they marry up and touch in the same place on both sides now. What do you mean it doesn't look like it has... Oh, crap. It's so dark. What do you mean it doesn't look like it has bite? I don't know what you're talking about. Are you saying like it just pops through, or... And then, of course, take my thumbnail, not my thumb, my thumbnail. I gently touch it like so. And I feel for any spots that feel coarser than the rest of the blade. I don't have any. It all feels smooth and even. Bob's your uncle. Knife sharp. So, guys, it's been an hour and 5 minutes. I gotta clean this up. Probably gonna have to take the blade out of it to do it. It's got a lot of grit in it. A lot of gunk. So I do a lot of reprofiling. So, I'll get it cleaned up, lubed up. I'll get it out the door to you. It's like I said, it's gonna feel coarse for a while because it did get a lot of reprofiling. So, all right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit. I'm gonna get some other videos shot and I'm gonna do some other stuff today. I will talk to you all later. Please if you don't know what you're doing, either be careful or ask me a question. But Peter, I've been here for an hour. And don't bother calling me. I got a bunch of stuff I gotta do. I didn't get to shoot those videos yesterday. I'm gonna have to do it today. So, all right, guys, take it easy. Take care of yourselves. I'll talk to you later. There's not gonna be any videos this weekend. I'm out of town this weekend. Like I said, going up, missed a funeral. I'm going to go up and spend some time with some friends. I'm going up and spend it with my buddy. Hang out with my buddy Quentin. We've known each other since we were early 20s. Basically, spent my entire adult life knowing this guy. So I'm gonna hang out with him, and we're just gonna. I think I need it. So it's been kind of crappy. Lost a couple friends in the last month. I don't want to spend this weekend just here. So, all right, guys, I'll talk to y'all later. Take it easy. I'll see you in a little bit when you guys see the video post. Keep your eyes open. Like I said, videos posted.